The theft of expensive construction equipment is a constant battle for law enforcement.
But one case is now solved after the owner told deputies where to find his missing machinery. Mike McKnight shows us how he knew those details and how it could help others in this First Alert 6 investigation.
These concrete buggies cost $12,000 each. And when the staff at Resource Rental had one stolen from an Omaha job site,
started here and then went all the way out to West Omaha there.
They searched and found it without leaving their Council Bluffs office.
I was like, here it's at. This is where it's at. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting if you can track your equipment and know where it's at and where it's not supposed to be.
A hidden GPS device allowed Jones to follow the electronic tracks left by the stolen concrete buggy from a Midtown Omaha construction project and traveling about 13 miles west to another building site.
And this is where it ended up, and this is where we located it.
With that tracking ability this time, we were able to pinpoint exactly where it was. So we were excited to know to tell the authorities to, hey, go get our stuff.
And Douglas County Sheriff's deputies did just that with this body cam photo showing the stolen concrete buggy.
So the deputies showed up and they said they found it on a trailer attached to a pickup truck. When the deputies found it, it was freshly painted blue to try to hide its identity.
But serial numbers proved it belonged to Resource Rental. About 50 of these tracking devices and the monthly fee add up to about $4,000 a year. But when you save the theft of a $12,000 piece of equipment, it's money well spent. Douglas County Sheriff Aaron Hansen encourages contractors to hide GPS devices on equipment in case thieves steal it.
I'd rather us catch them much faster by tracking the stolen items, or at least give the thieves pause that every item that they're looking to steal might contain a tracker.
And this tracker not only showed the location of the stolen concrete buggy, but where it had stopped along the way.
It traveled to the suspect's residence where it sat for an extended period of time.
That suspect, identified as 50-year-old Christopher Batter, who is wanted for theft of the concrete buggy that the tracker located at a construction site.
He walked away before deputies could make contact with him. He left his truck and trailer there, which was impounded.
A tracker is attached to all the equipment at Resource Rental that goes to job sites. And even if thieves look for the device, the staff won't lose track.
You can have a ghost tracker, so if they cut that one, it alerts one that's hidden somewhere else in the machine.
In Council Bluffs, Mike McKnight, First Alert 6.
If you know where theft suspect Christopher Batter is now, you're asked to contact the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. Construction site thefts appear to be going down, with 54 reported the first 3 months this year compared to 82 for the same period a year ago.